well, then we needed a band, so we needed other players. So I got Steve Fossen, former Heart bassist, and my dear friend Mike Curley, that you'll be hearing tonight, who's the lead singer of Clever Bastards. We had a nice little four-piece. So we worked up some songs and went over there. And the night before we were to play their equivalent of the Grammys, they called the Andiel Awards, which means angel. We played at this nightclub in Ostrava. Ostrava is the third biggest city, and on their main drag downtown, there are 71 bars. People partying. But yeah, so we played in one of these bars and it sold out instantly. And oh, we just kicked ass. It was fantastic.
Right on.
Yeah, it was really good. And then the Andiel Awards the next day was really a big deal. It was in a stadium. There were about 6,000 people, but all the stars of the country were there because a lot of them were receiving awards and that sort of thing. And so it was really fun meeting all these people. I noticed my wife and her best friend kind of snickering over there, and they were pointing at Mike Curley, the singer, and they said, "You know who you were talking to?" He said, "No." The guy said he was a banker. He said, "That's the country's finance minister." That's the caliber of people that were just everywhere around. So we were meeting all these stars and stuff. It was great. But yeah, so Alan played the original drums on John Lennon's Imagine. So that's the song that we did on the Andiel Awards. Let's go back a little further. I was the younger brother to this really strong, smart guy. And I kind of let him just take care of everything, and I was just a little brother, and everything was taken care of. Until we got a little older, and like when we got in Heart, I started to realize I had these phobias about socializing and talking to people and just normal stuff. I was definitely afraid of it because I didn't know how to do it because I'd never done that before. Mike always did everything, my brother. And so it was a serious problem internally with me. But that's my concept here tonight because, see, I don't play solo shows hardly at all. I want to be doing it more. I plan to, but I don't do it very much. So it's really scary for me. I mean, it's the scariest it ever gets. When you're in a band, it's so easy because you've got the other guys there. You can make some mistakes. Nobody's going to know. But here,
see that book outside?
Beck, Clapton, Page were the main guys because, well, the way that they interpreted blues and all the guitar playing that they interpreted, I always felt was really modern and innovative, cutting edge, and not only that, anybody who's really gotten into the blues understands that these people were taken from their country, taken from their parents, from their families, put on slave ships and brought over to America, and then in the context of that pain, they created the blues. So anybody who's ever really gotten into the blues knows that there is some deep pain associated with it. And so any artist, any musician, any guitarist who you can sense that, you can kind of sense that lineage, that speaks to me. So I love those guys.
Right on.
Anything else? What
was your most memorable show of all?
Are we talking show or after show?
Any.
The first time we played New York City was in a theater somewhat similar to the Paramount, probably a little bit bigger, and I had been used to playing wireless, and so there was a big TV transmitter behind this venue, and it didn't work. So it's no big deal. We played it, no big deal. But at the beginning of Barracuda, I would always start on stage left, and I'd come out there being real cocky and cool and go, still bend over. And I'd go running across the stage like this. All that stuff. And, well, I forgot that I had my cord in. And I go out there. So I look at the crowd and I go like that. I go back and set it up. Luckily it still worked, and then did it again. So that was a fun memory. There was also the time we played Cal Jam 2.
Yeah.
It was almost 300,000 people at this speedway, and we stayed the night before at the Holiday Inn across the street, and you know, the night before a major show like that, when it's going to be televised and everything, you want a good night's rest. Be nice, fresh, bubbly, ready for the performance. Well, there was these helicopters going back and forth, like they started at 6 o'clock in the morning or something, and then there was people partying all over the place. We didn't get much sleep. So, so we get over there, and you know, Heart was a great band. We could go anywhere, play with anybody. It was real second nature, and we felt real solid. But there's Santana there, and there's Fleetwood Mac, and there's all these major people just right here. And there's all these TV cameras, and there's 300,000, a sea of people. Oh, I was shaking uncontrollably from head to foot. It was such a strange experience. So that was pretty memorable. Well, I remember the time we were playing the Cotton Bowl, and my brother had been telling us about this great up-and-coming band. You got to hear this guitar. I think his name is Eddie Van Halen. And yeah, so then in the tour bus we put some on, and oh, fantastic. And so we went to play our show in the Cotton Bowl, and they just happened to be in town, and we wanted them to come up on stage so they could just hang out on stage while we played, because we knew that they were going to be major stuff. And our road manager said, well, nobody's going to be on stage with you. We said, oh, is that right? Well, we're not going to play then. So they were on stage with us. That was pretty cool. Eddie and I hung out for a while. I remember one night they played in town, and I was in the dressing room before the gig, and I showed him. He asked to see some licks from Mistral Wind. That's this one, the big one. Which is, back then it seemed like a pretty tough lick. He could have played it if he would have applied himself, but at that moment he couldn't play it, so I felt pretty cool. He could play all kinds of stuff that I couldn't do. You know, being a musician, I'm so honored to have done all the things that I've done and met all the people, and it's such a privilege to be able to do all the things we do. I remember in Heart, we used to have our own. Well, we rented at least a Super King Air. It's supposed to be the safest plane in the sky. Really nice plane, pretty small, but really a nice plane. And I remember flying through the length of the Grand Canyon in that plane. That was really good. We used to fly real low over New York City, see all the baseball diamonds all over the place.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Let's get it on.
Yeah.